You vote them out and then they head straight back in. About 100 current members of the House and Senate will leave Congress next year, and many of them will dive headfirst into the DC swamp with new jobs as lobbyists and strategic advisors and all the rest of the swampy nonsense we cover here regularly. So, can anything be done to stop the revolving door? Refilling the DC swamp is tonight's Swamp Watch. So here to break it all down is Sheila Krumholz. She's Executive Director at the Center for Responsive Politics. And I just want to point out to our audience that so much of what we put out there every week on Swamp Watch, the data that comes from the organization that Sheila leads and the website they have, Open Secrets. And I just want to thank you so much, Sheila, you and your team, for the incredible work. We literally couldn't do Swamp Watch without you. So I just want to start by saying that. But let's get to this point about lobbying. I think it's one of the constant themes of Swamp Watch is this revolving door. You go out of Congress and you go straight back in as a lobbyist. Now, I use the term straight back. I know that there's a sort of gap that has to be observed, but how do you see it? What's been happening, and what do you think is going to happen with this year's group of members of Congress who are exiting?
Yes, thank you. So every time there's a power shift in Congress, Washington goes through its own version of the NBA draft, with K Street, the boulevard that's synonymous with the lobbying industry, kind of competing to get the most powerful departing members of Congress and staff as well. So that's what's going on now. We have about 100 members departing Congress. The lobbying industry is growing again, and there's going to be fierce competition to get some of the most powerful former chairs and ranking members of Congress.
And what are the rules that are supposed to get in the way of any corruption here?
Yeah, there is a cooling off period that members of Congress have to honor. So in the House, it's a one-year ban on lobbying their former colleagues after they leave Congress. And in the Senate, it's a two-year ban. And that's meaningful because the longer you have to wait before you can lobby your former colleagues, the more stale your contacts, your expertise grows. So it is a meaningful, from their perspective, sacrifice, from our perspective, an important kind of period for them to not be trading on those contacts and expertise.
But they find ways around that, don't they?
They do. And principally, they act not as registered active lobbyists, but as senior advisors, strategic advisors. I like to say they're kind of the generals leading the troops from the rear, dictating what is done on behalf of clients. Some of them act as rainmakers at law firms and lobbying firms, so they're attracting the big corporate clients, and then other people do kind of the work of contacting members and leading the charge. So,
and is there anything specific you would propose to deal with this?
Well, the first thing we always propose is that people get smart and get savvy about how the system really operates. The truth is we can't really hold the lobbyists accountable. They don't work for us. Our members of Congress do. And so we need to make sure that we know what the members are doing in our name. We voted them in. Now, we employ them. We need to know what they're doing up there. And then we also need to make sure that we know who's lobbying them, what they want in return, and whether they're getting it, and whether what they're getting in votes, in bills passed or killed, is in the constituents' best interest.
So transparency. Just one quick change of subject, but I want to get your take on it because it's in the news. This investigation of the Trump inaugural committee for foreign donors. What do you make of all of that?
Well, for foreign donors, and reports are talking about alleged questions about how much money was spent on what. So there are a few questions rolling out there, but reports are focused on a few Middle Eastern countries and the connections to the head of the Presidential Inaugural Committee, Tom Barrack, and his connections, introductions of Rick Gates, the person kind of handling the logistics for the committee, and connections to business people, wealthy individuals in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. So there is a lot of smoke, but not a lot of, or we don't know exactly what's going on, but just a lot of allegations at this point.
All right. Well, thanks so much. I'm sure you'll keep an eye on it, and we will too. Sheila, really appreciate you could join us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.